friends, with this quick update, I want to both thank you for your wonderful birthday wishes and explain to you why there cannot be a scintilla of doubt anymore that this criminal proceeding is a fake and a show trial whose only purpose is to divert everyone's attention from the fact that in reality it is intended to put me out of business for my work and to shut all of us up. This will not happen. It is now too late. And it is now time to do the right thing. And not only we on this side of the fence know this, but more and more people on the other side of the fence are beginning to grasp this. The countless birthday wishes I received top everything I ever received as birthday wishes and birthday presents in my entire life. I cannot say any more right now, but I will as soon as I get out of here. I'm especially grateful for the hundreds of people who, some of them having traveled to Göttingen from very far away, who congregated outside these prison walls to celebrate with me. You have probably heard by now that the prison administration deliberately kept me from hearing or seeing any of this, as on Friday, May the 3rd, they transferred me from the halfway normal department of this maximum security prison to a maximum security department. They also told me that I cannot make any phone calls to my lawyers or my wife, and that I cannot speak to any of the other inmates. This was, of course, both completely illegal and unconstitutional, and we will make sure that there will be consequences. However, when I was finally taken back to my old cell on Monday, May the 6th, the other inmates who were deeply impressed by the party outside told me everything in great detail. They were totally blown away. Again, it needs no further explaining that all of this is completely illegal and unconstitutional. At this point, it simply confirms that the famous book, Horrible Justices, which Professor Ingo Müller wrote about the judges of the Third Reich, is also a warning to all of us here in Germany, as even the former president of the German Constitutional Court has been warning that there are very grave problems within the judiciary. Just how grave these problems really are is currently on display here in Göttingen. The presiding judge in my case formally announced on Friday, May the 3rd, that he intends to stop the trial, does not want to hear any more witnesses, and wants to sentence me as quickly as possible. Why is that? Because the hearings that we have had thus far have clearly shown that my taking out a loan to protect part of the donations from getting attached by the authorities was perfectly okay. As one, yes, there was an imminent threat of our bank account getting attached. Two, I, as a director of the Corona Investigative Committee, had the power to step in and protect some of the donations by way of taking out a loan. And three, I was both able and willing to repay the loan. This means that the court must throw out the DA's case immediately, acquit me, and set me free. In order to avoid this, the presiding judge declared that based on the testimony of my former co-host, Vivian Fischer, he has now decided to jump ship and proceed on a completely different case and basis against me. He now says that the loan contract was no loan contract. Rather, that there was some kind of an agreement, no one knows what exactly he means, between me and my former co-host, based on which I had the duty to put the money into another bank account as a liquidity reserve. Since I didn't do this, he says, I violated this duty and thus am guilty of having violated a fiduciary duty to take care of the financial donations. This ignores that even Vivian Fischer, when asked by the presiding judge, admitted that she had never spoken to me about any liquidity reserve, and that both the documentary evidence and the witnesses' accounts in court confirm that Vivian Fischer never held any liquidity whatsoever. Rather, she spent all the money from the loan because she didn't have any. She didn't have anything else. And she was only able to repay the loan by committing several different crimes, among which is misappropriation of money from a book pre-sale, which in turn was based on fraud, the pre-sale of the book. The details of this will come out very, very soon. We had told the court as much. We had told them that based on her testimony, we would come up with more evidence, more witnesses that would confirm this. And we believe that this is the other reason for the court to change course and make up facts on which it wants to base a jail sentence for me. Details of a statement I gave in court, it's a preliminary statement, I gave in court on Tuesday, May the 8th, will be published shortly for those of you who are interested. You will see that regardless of everything else, the simple fact that the DA had me kidnapped in Mexico so that I could be arrested at Frankfurt Airport based on a German arrest warrant makes it impossible for a German court to put me on trial for anything. The court holds no judicial power over me because of the kidnapping. Rather, the state of Lower Saxony must immediately set me free and pay me damages because of the abduction, simply because of the abduction. One of the most famous German criminal law professors states as much in a law review article in which he calls the German judiciary's hitherto basically unknown kidnapping practices a shameful mark on the German rule of law, on the German judiciary. One does not need to study law or understand this. Natural law, which was applied in the Nuremberg trials, comes to this very same conclusion. And there is, in fact, a ruling by the common law courts in Great Britain and international, in my case, a ruling dated January 20th, 2024, which comes to the very same conclusion based on the fact that I was kidnapped. It orders the German Attorney General and the prosecutor in charge of my case to each personally pay me £99,000 for my kidnapping and each personally pay me another £25,000 for false imprisonment. That is exactly the conclusion to which the abstract law review article of the aforementioned professor of law comes. If someone is kidnapped abroad by the German authorities, they have to pay him damages and set him free immediately. They cannot proceed with any case against them. Well, what does all of this tell us? What does the fact that here in Germany, well-known and formerly highly profitable companies like Miele, Steel, and Bosch are leaving the country while Germany is ramping up its war industry and now even tries to get to recruit students in the German schools to become soldiers, or rather cannon fodder. What does all of this tell us? What does it mean that the real economy here is being substituted by a war industry? Well, it tells us that it is time for the other side's implosion. They are now with their backs against the wall, and one after another is actually forced to take their masks off. We are ready for them.